Hey everyone, welcome to Hungover Podcast, episode 103. Didn't think we'd make it past 60, think we'd make it past 80. Thought at 100 we would just wrap the whole shit up, but we're not.
Might as well.
We're back. We're gonna keep going. And
Yes.
My name is Yvonne over there.
Julien, welcome to the show. And Yvonne, I have to tell the people that you can get this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, and live on Twitch, where you can be part of the conversation in the chat. And that's really important to us because we would love to conversate with our audience. That's a word, I swear.
Nope.
It's not a word. Anyways, Yvonne, I have some minor business to clear up here. Of course, we are reaching that 100 subscriber threshold on YouTube. We have 91 whole subscribers. Thank you to everyone who subscribes to us. You guys are awesome. And if you don't subscribe to us, consider checking out our YouTube channel. We really want to hit 100 subscribers soon. That could really help out with getting a custom URL. That would really help for us, and I hope we do it. Yvonne,
Yeah.
another thing that's happening on my Twitch channel is I just hit 200 followers, and
Dude,
I
you're the best.
have a goal of hitting 200 followers, and that goal means that I'm going to be doing a very special spicy ramen challenge where I make and eat spicy ramen in the package and then play video games. So be sure to check that out on my Twitch channel next Saturday. It's going to be great. This, of course, airs on the 25th of March, so it should be the 30th of March, in which I eat spicy ramen and play Super Smash Brothers. Anyways, Yvonne, enough of that rigmarole.
Be there or be square.
Honestly, if you're not there, it'll just be on the YouTube channel, which you could subscribe to. Anyways, of course, that's all well and good, but we start our podcast out every single week. First of all, I guess I should say that our topic of the show is going to be more of a broader topic of internet censorship, but we wanted to specifically discuss a lot about current, I guess the current topic of the day, which is the Christchurch mosque killings, which had a live stream of the actual shootings, which then got censored. So we wanted to speak about this in the context of that. So that will be the talk of the show, but we start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what did you drink last night, and what media have you been consuming? Also, Pab140, how are you? Welcome to the show. Enjoy the show. But Yvonne, take us away.
Yo. Oh my god. So last night I wanted to get a wine and change it up. I had a amazing bath, which lasted for an hour. Oh, dude.
What?
I have gotten really into baths lately. This is my second one in
so
a week.
Weird. Are you like a 50-year-old mom?
I special ordered bath bombs.
The bath bombs? Oh, I knew it.
Amazon.
I knew it. You fucking weirdo. Oh my god.
Just kept chucking them in.
I'm kidding. Oh
like
my god. Wait,
Green
really?
Goblin grenades.
You can't hear him because that's a mistake. Sorry about that. It's alright. He was recording. You can hear him now, though. Sorry
Sweet.
about that.
So I'm chucking in Green Goblin grenades of bath bombs into my bath while watching The Fall on Netflix. Because I got a sweet setup. Also, boiled a bunch of water in big pots to bring the heat up and make sure it was super amazing.
Okay.
I had a great time. Also used that time to work on my D&D campaign, which will start soon in April, because I am a mega nerd. But while I was doing that, I had some cool beverages to the side. Went to my standard of a Hendrick's Gin Gimlet. Again, Hendrick's, simple syrup, lime juice, sparkling water seltzer.
Hendrick's is a gin, of course.
Yeah.
It's a great gin.
Amazing gin. And I also did a lime seltzer with a little bit of Canton ginger liqueur and white rum.
Wow.
which is
Wow.
just a really refreshing beverage. So a little bit of
That
ginger, a
sounds
little bit of
ridiculous.
spice, a little bit of everything you
That
want
sounds
with
really
the
good,
lime.
actually.
And you're
A nice
just,
bath drink, perhaps.
oh
I don't
my
know.
god, it's a great bath drink.
Or maybe just coming out of the bath in a fresh robe. Have one of those in your hand, slippers, walking around the house.
Damn it. My robe is still indisposed because Laura got a paint on it, and a pair of my pants, which she has.
God
They're
damn it.
fucking ruined. Anyway,
God damn
so
it.
that's the basic gist of the media. I'm still working through Phantom Doctrine, Fallout 4, Overwatch, and the occasional dip into NBA 2K. Although I've almost completely stopped
2K19?
playing it.
Of course.
2K19.
Yeah.
So, was it a great game? No. Did it fulfill an itch? And was I thankful I got it on super sale? Yes. Um,
Well, I'll tell you,
but
I
that's
saw
basically it for
a
me.
recent Switch sale, Nintendo Switch, where if you buy a Switch, you would get the game for free on the Switch, which is pretty cool. Anyways,
It is.
yeah.
I think there are a bunch of other games I would prefer to get with a Switch than that
Yes.
one.
Me too.
In terms of media, yeah, I didn't see any new movies recently. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's going. I really am fired up for the new Jordan Peele movie Us.
Us, right. Yeah.
I really think that we should do a review of that.
Did it come out? It came out, right?
It came out this past weekend.
Okay, so maybe I'll see it next some point next week. We'll see.
Sounds good to me.
I'll try.
I'd also like for the movie theater to die down a bit before I went to see it, because I am a 50-year-old person when it comes to being curmudgeonly at the goddamn movie theater.
Yes.
But Julien,
Yes.
you know what I'm not curmudgeonly about?
No.
Drinking. And I want to know what you had. What did you
Oh,
consume?
okay. Well, sorry that Yvonne... Oh, no. There it goes. No. Yvonne's face is super glitchy right now, but that's fine. You can hear his voice. He's just in a slideshow now. I was in a slideshow before, but
Yep.
we are really professional. But the audio portion will be totally perfect. Don't worry. So what I've been doing is I finally beat Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, which is a super hardcore Japanese RPG on the Nintendo Switch. It's also on Xbox and PlayStation, of course. But this game I got in like January, and I just finally finished it. It just dragged on forever at the end. And as Japanese RPGs do, I believe, they're like, "Oh, you think this is the last boss?" Nope, there's still 5 more hours to play. Sucks to be you. So I really
I heard an interesting thing. Sorry to jump in here.
No, sorry.
But so in Mortal Kombat on the machines, they didn't. Goro, the original Mortal Kombat, Goro was the second to last boss, but he was the most difficult boss because they understood that people would keep feeding coins just to see the last boss, not to fight him. So they put the hardest boss next to last.
Oh, I
see. So maybe that's just a continuation of that kind of ideology.
It's possibly, these, I believe, it's a pretty old game, so maybe the Japanese developers came from, previously worked on arcade games, maybe. So this game dragged on, but if you like Tales games, which are a pretty niche genre of Japanese RPG, then this game is right up your alley. It's a pretty great game. But I really had it up to here with that game, so I really had to finish it. I was skipping all the cutscenes. Like, I really need to beat this game just for my sake. I already invested 40 hours of my life. I need to just see it through. So I'm really happy to beat that game. I can finally move on to playing more Wargroove, which is the strategy RPG, turn-based strategy RPG on Switch, on PC, on Xbox One and PS4. This game is amazing, made by Chucklefish, which is a cool developer. They have sort of cartoony graphic style, which is pretty cool, I think. It looks cool. It's like kind of a spiritual successor to the Advance Wars series, which is one of my favorite Nintendo game series out there. So I'm really getting into that game right now, and I really suggest you get this game, Yvonne. It's right up your alley, I think. And it has asynchronous gameplay, asynchronous multiplayer. So you can make a move because it's turn-based. You make all your moves and then you leave it, and you could have like a game going over a month-long period with one of your friends. And it's cross-play between Switch and PC and Xbox, maybe not PS4. That's also super cool. And you can make you can make custom maps, and it's just a really cool combat system, I think. Anyways, I'm having a great time with that. I went to another party yet again last day. Last day. I keep getting bombarded by my friends. They're like, hey, dude, I haven't seen you in a fucking year. Want to hang out at my party? It's like, oh, God, no. No, I don't. I'm kidding. I hadn't seen these guys in about like 2 or 3 years. They're a couple of my friends from high school, and I realized they're all gamers. Just like, that's pretty awesome for me. So we played Smash at his house. We drank. I brought some whiskey over, ginger simple syrup and seltzer. That's a pretty standard drink. It's not bad. It's like a whiskey highball. Not bad. That's what I drank, and really, I didn't really do anything else this week. So that's about it for me. Don't want to go on too long. But Yvonne, I think we can just move on to the topic of the show. There's no need for some ridiculous segment here, and segue, that is. I think that's true. It's just what we got to talk about. You brought this topic to me, so why don't you give us a little introduction here?
Yeah, so with the internet recently, in terms of ads and censorship, the internet is obviously always like the internet as a majority force of people who comment and write and speak out. They want the internet to continue to be the Wild West of low censorship, immediate access, and just being able to see and do what they want. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have varying scales of what that means. So for a lot of people, the apocalypse on YouTube really hurt a lot of their favorite YouTubers who were just putting up kind of either adult content or adult themed content, not like porn, but like jokes that were for a more mature audience than a 13-year-old. Versus making sure that kids weren't being exploited by ads for a variety of things. Mm-hmm. So, like with the apocalypse, everybody's saying, stop censorship, let ads run on whatever, do all this. But at the same time, the internet is a pretty scary place when it comes to being able to have the freedom to post whatever you want, or using platforms like Facebook to show violence and destruction, as was seen in Christchurch in New Zealand, when the person who committed the crime live streamed what he was doing, and so people were able to watch what this person was doing in terms of committing the atrocities of murdering people at the Christchurch Mosque. And so it wasn't just the one person as a bad actor, but 1.5 million videos were removed of the attack globally in the first 24 hours, as reported by Facebook alone. 1.2 million of which were blocked immediately on upload. But that means 300,000 plus videos were allowed to get through the censorship and then had to be taken down through manually or extra effort by the platform itself. So this means that Facebook allowed for the live streaming of it and then had to block 1.5 million people uploading this atrocious act. I just think that it needs to have some balance when we're talking about what the Wild West of the internet is and the freedom to express yourself is, and like where is it that censorship is okay and how far should we be able to take this?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a really tough question to answer, right? And that's why we wanted to talk about it today. I think it is also, I mean, it has to do with, you could bring in the argument of freedom of speech, right, and freedom of press, but not everywhere in the world has that type of, freedom. It's mostly, I mean, the most famous country, America, is clearly, that's one of, our, God-given rights, right, here in America. We can post whatever we want on the internet. We can say whatever we want, and we can write whatever we want, or at least that is what the founding fathers, wanted us to have the ability to do.
But
and
the
of course,
fathers couldn't have thought of the internet at the time,
right? So. Of course, and so that's where the other side of the argument comes in, right? It's the internet is, really came into popularity and got access. Everyone really got access to the internet within the last 10 years, I think. More and more people every day are getting access to the internet across the world. But I think within the last 10 years, we've seen an exponential growth in the amount of people who have access to the internet. And I think that's a great thing. I think that it really is the greatest human interaction of our age, and then I think of humankind, I think, because we at our fingertips, literally, we have access to every single thing in the world, that's been on the internet, right? So that's an immense amount of knowledge, and you can read anything and learn about anything that you want on the internet if you're tech savvy enough and you can find where it is. So that is where it comes in that, there are no real laws on the internet, except or when the internet was made, people didn't think that people are going to do illegal things on this, so we need to set laws in place first. So clearly, as we're seeing, right, we saw with Article, what was it in Europe, Article 13 or 19 or something, whatever the number is, right? We see the government is now, in Europe at least, is now trying to censor memes, essentially. I mean, that's not really. They're trying to censor basically using other people's imagery in your own way, right? Which is essentially what a meme is.
They're doing a lot of copyright
protection. It's not exactly to attack memes, but memes are probably the thing that most people talk about on the internet nowadays, right? So we're seeing more and more government intervention into something that was basically, it was free to use, well, more or less free to use, and kind of like the Wild West, for lack of a better word, in terms of things being posted, things being said, things being typed, these types of things, right? So that's why it's a complicated issue, and that's why we wanted to discuss it. I don't have an answer, obviously, but I think it's good to discuss. Right, so that's where we are now, right? So you were saying that this, and of course this New York Times article that we have in the video portion of the podcast, which you can get on YouTube, it's a New York Times article titled "The Internet's Endless Appetite for Death Videos." So you can go look it up if you're just listening to the audio portion, if you want to read it. And, it went through some studies that were done about how people felt, or before and after they watched very violent videos on a site like LiveLeak. And so it brings up the question, should these videos exist? Should they be on the internet? And should everyone have access to it, right? Well, I'm sorry?
Yeah. I mean, what role do...
Yeah, what role does this video have?
Yeah, what role do websites that host these videos have, and what responsibility do they have to viewers and victims?
Right. So I wanted to bring up the other side, I mean, the argument for having these videos on the internet, right? So, and the only analogy I can have that would support it is the Vietnam War, right? I think, I mean, I wasn't alive during the Vietnam War, but it was a war that not many people, uh, I think many people supported in the beginning, but once reporters and reputable news sources came back with video footage of what was going on and pictures and stories and anecdotes and things like that, and brought it back and showed the general populace what exactly was going on in Vietnam, what the American soldiers were doing there, or being forced to do, rather. I don't want to blame any armed soldier for fighting for their country, right? I mean, they're, I guess, just following orders, for lack of a better word. But yeah, so once that was brought back, people were educated and to the horrors that were going on there, and they were allowed to make up their mind and form an opinion because they had more information about what was going on in Vietnam. So I could see using that mentality as an argument as to why these videos should exist on the internet. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see that sort of argument being made. I don't know what you think about that, Yvonne. And I'm not saying specifically like this exact one instance, right, where the mass shooting was live streamed, right? Right. I think that should not exist. And so exactly, context is everything in this in this discussion. I think context is really important.
That being said,
yeah,
we have to really envision what the reality of it is. So during the Vietnam War era,
yeah,
you have dozens, hundreds of photographers and journalists, people taking photos and videos. Now we have an insane amount of video footage uploaded every minute to YouTube, an insane amount of, even for like between Vietnam and now, like comparatively, Facebook isn't as inundated by videos as YouTube, but I also think that they have a less of an infrastructure based on what there is to protect. So
yeah,
we have these pockets of people who are willing to and seeking out just the most gruesome, gory, hyperbolic violence that's possible. Right. And these websites find these niche, or not niche, but a select group of people that choose to go to there because they have a lot of people that upload similar videos or have similar comments and opinions on the videos. And if you look at the context, it's not just the context of the video, but the context in which the video is titled or commented upon. So what this article points out is that a lot of these video hosting sites that have hosted videos of acts of police violence that have sparked protest in certain parts of the world, when they're uploaded to these places like LiveLeak, the conservatism there is more of the victim got what they deserved. Right. As opposed to looking at the system of police brutality or structural violence that exists within it. So even if it's contextualized, it can be contextualized in a different light, right? Like statistics can be manufactured for use in any which way, but the same thing can be done for lots of different images. And the harshness of the videos isn't really taken into account. And for instance, my friends from high school, a lot of them watch LiveLeak videos. And we were drinking one night and hanging out and playing cards, and then suddenly we started watching LiveLeak videos.
Okay.
And I was just like, what are you guys doing?
Right, that's kind of crazy.
Why would anybody want to watch someone breaking a leg severely, or any kind of murder or death or critical condition injury or things like that? And they're just like, these things are happening. You have to know about them. I'm just like, I can know about them and not have to seek out
Mm-hmm.
or watch
A
these
video of it,
videos.
right?
I can read articles, see like censored photographs or other images, read live interview or read interviews from people who have suffered from different conditions, and those paint just as visceral of a picture for me as do videos. However, if we talk about the Vietnam War, right? So there are images that change the opinions of lots of
Mm-hmm.
people. So, yes, contextualization matters, but contextualization can be subjective. Now, let's say, for instance, the Facebook video of the Christchurch killings. 200 people watched that video live.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many of them reported the massacre to Facebook or flagged it as a bad video?
0, I'm guessing.
0. It took 29 minutes after the video concluded.
Wow.
Or after the acts were happening, and 12 minutes after the live broadcast was over, in order for anybody to report it as a video unsuitable for Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's 200
That's
people
pretty
who were
crazy.
watching it.
Yeah.
Who were just like, I'm fine with this. I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, right? I mean, if it's a live stream, right, then it's not like you can... That's the crazy thing. It was a live stream, right?
Right.
So there's
the
nothing...
actions were... The massacre was happening while people were watching, and those people
So
didn't
at that
say
point,
shit.
it is actually a responsibility of the people watching it because, you know, it's actually happening right now, right? So you can actually do something about it as opposed to just watching a video that was uploaded. You know, maybe it's a 5-year-old video or something, right? So there's nothing you could have done about it except, you know, you're watching it. So
I think the follow-up question to that is are the people who... So, yes, Facebook is responsible for making sure that the videos of this gruesome act of terrorism isn't uploaded.
Right.
Or aren't being viewed. But those 200 people who watched and didn't say anything and didn't report in any way, are they liable for the actions being committed? Can they be held as participants in, or like conspirators in this act?
I don't think so, because they would have to figure out, when you scroll through Facebook, you don't know what you're looking at, right? So they have to figure out, is this real? Is this, at that point, and then, you have to contextualize again what you're seeing, right? You don't know, is it real? Is it, is this one of my friends? Who the hell is this? Like, what's going on? Where is this? Those are all things you have to take in. So I guess it was, I don't know how long the video was, and it's horrible to think about.
17-minute video.
17-minute video, right? So maybe by 10 minutes in, if you're still watching, right, you can figure out what's going on, because it's a live stream, so it's using cellular data, so it's probably pretty pixelated. It's like 240p or whatever. At some points, it goes in and out, right? So I don't think you can blame them in terms of legal action. I don't think so. I can, I would say that they are responsible to report this type of thing, but I mean, I guess the idea is, like, should Facebook have an honor system that, should you report a thing if you know it's like a wrong to have, right? I don't know. Like, there's too many different levels to it that you can't really define very well in terms of legal action or the latter, like should Facebook hold its users accountable for the things that they see on Facebook? Sure, they should be accountable for what they upload, but are you accountable for what you see on Facebook? I don't think so, personally.
So is it just a general morality of
It's like the
Is there
bystander effect, right?
right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So should we be encouraging people who see something to say something?
Sure, we should encourage them, but that doesn't. I mean, yeah, yeah, of course we should, but I
Is
don't. I
there
don't think
a
it'll.
legal obligation to encourage, like, to set something up?
Legal obligation. Not. I mean, I could just not be on Facebook that day, right? So I don't. I don't see why
Yeah, but
it's.
that's fine. So if you don't do anything, if you're not watching that kind of content, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you actively
If you
engage with
saw
that
it.
kind of content and you don't do anything to notify Facebook, or you recognize the thing and can notify, if you're local, notify police, etc. Like, I would understand if you're not in the same country, right? Facebook is a global thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not in New Zealand and you just happen to be watching this video of some guy who went live,
Yeah.
and it's not like I don't.
Well, I
Okay,
get.
first off,
Sorry.
you're like, when you go live on Facebook. I've never done or watched anybody
I
who's
don't even
live.
know how they do
Who
that.
tunes into it? And do you have to be friends with them, or is it just anybody? But
No, I don't
B,
think so. It's like Twitch, I think.
so but there is some level of, like, if you're friends with this person, you can see them live and they'll like notify you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So clearly, of those 200 people, some were probably local and could have reported or said something.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least in the
And
same time zone,
also
right?
reported or said something to Facebook to stop that video from continuing,
Right.
rather than it being all the way through at
Well,
17 minutes.
again, I guess I still I'm coming back to the, like, how do you know it was real, right? When you're watching it, because I still think that's some little bit of a factor. Maybe it's not as big of a factor as I think it is, but I mean, if I watch a movie, right, there's a lot of production in that shit, right? So it looks real, but I don't know. I don't know. I know it's not real, like, but in a movie because I'm watching in context of a movie, right? But how can you tell if it's real, right? And then I guess the idea is that if you're just reporting it, then it's not like the end of the world if it wasn't real. Like, I guess maybe I should go down this path, but that's
I
what I'm
think that
saying.
there's a big difference, and you can tell when something is or isn't real at that level. I just
Okay.
think that somebody getting a bunch of guns from their Subaru hatchback, saying that they're going to kill Muslims, and like then going and storming in and killing people, and all of it being filmed. I think that there is a way to identify
Okay.
that really happening, and that being the worst version of viral
Right.
ad or content, etc.
Well, I mean, I guess then the other side of it is, even if they did report it, would it have mattered? Like, it wouldn't have stopped
I
anything.
think that reporting it is still better, and being able to notify responsible people. And in my opinion, it's better to stop those kinds of videos from being watched or being translated,
Mm-hmm.
even if it is not a real thing,
Yeah.
than it is for those kinds of videos to exist.
Okay.
Because
No.
I personally, I don't know, I don't really think that that's an interesting, like, an avenue that has any societal benefit of, like, a viral ad campaign or something, or a play act of a lone gunman going into a building.
Right. No, I don't think these videos should exist either. I guess I should make that straight. Like, I'm just trying to we're just trying to have the conversation, right? But
No, yeah, I know, but I just,
yeah.
for me, even if you're reporting on a fake video, I think it's better than allowing
Okay. Yeah.
those real videos like that to continue
Mhm.
on, right?
Yeah.
It
I
it
think
doesn't
so,
matter
yeah.
to me that the fake videos would get
It's
stopped and
like
taken
reporting
down.
someone on Overwatch. It doesn't matter. I'm kidding. No, but I definitely agree. It's something that should be done, but I think people get caught up on the bystander effect, right? At least those 200 people did, right? And they just saw it happen
That,
and
or
they
they
didn't do
just supported
anything.
what he was
And then,
doing.
not to mention that you have an extra layer of separation in that they're just sitting there watching it on their screen, right? It's not, they're not even there seeing it, happen, right? So you can't just report it. But so that level of commitment to the event that's happening, they might have just watched it for 5 seconds. They might not have watched all 17 minutes, right? So they might have just watched it for 5 seconds, just kept scrolling, right? It's it should be reported on Facebook, I agree, but I can probably not all 200 of those people actually watched all of it, right? So that's also not really relevant, but I'm just trying to put myself in the mindset of the person that saw the video, right? I don't know.
I think even if I watch that for 5 to 10 seconds, I might flag it.
Right, just flag it and then move on, right? So that's a good idea. Right. So I guess what I guess right. So the other part of this article was they discussed they asked people that were watching, that they showed the videos to, I believe, in a study, how they felt and things like that, right? If I'm not mistaken, Yvonne. Or yeah. Some
Where is
people
it?
would talk. Hold on, sorry. In an interview, okay, going further back, Dr. Sue Tate, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name, did a study in 2008 of the Ogrish forums, which I think you said is sort of like
predecessor to Live Leak.
Yeah, it's like it's a place where horrible videos are uploaded in some respect, right? Maybe not every video is bad on the Ogrish forums, but some of them are, right? So Sue Tate is a professor formerly at the University of Canterbury in Christchurch, New Zealand, where this mosque shooting happened. And she identified 4 different spectatorial positions for viewers. Let's see. Sorry, not prepared. God damn it. Okay, so there were those for whom the suffering on display was a source of stimulation, for whom shock and horror amounted to a form of pleasure. That's what I wanted to get to, right? So
like horror movies aren't cutting it anymore. I need the real life thing.
Yeah, basically, it brings up this idea, and then this is not really a discussion of censorship on the internet, I guess, so maybe we shouldn't really talk about it, but it's still interesting that people are going to seek this content out because they get some sort of pleasure of watching it. And I think it's like, that's kind of really fucked up, one, but like, let's just put that out there. Yeah, come on, man, you shouldn't, you're crazy. But in some respect, it's like, it's taboo, right? It's a taboo type of thing, right? Like really seeing a real death, that's taboo, right? You see people dying in movies all the time, but it's not real. If you know the video is real, and it's like a real beheading, for instance, right? You kind of, like, some people seek that shit out, right? And that's crazy. Like, the most disgusting thing I seek out on the internet is, like, I watch, this is so, like, lame, but I watch Dr. Pimple Popper. Have you heard of this woman?
Yeah.
She's actually super popular now. She's like over 1 million subscribers, and she's like a real dermatologist, and now she has a show on whatever, on some TV channel. And like, I've watched like tens of hundreds of her videos because I don't know, it's like the type of thing that you can't look away from after you see one of them. And she just like montages. So this is maybe like a billion times more extreme than what I'm doing on the internet, and I gotta stop at the pimple popping, right? So like, this is crazy that people are seeking this out. And I think like, you can't be held liable for wanting to see these videos. It doesn't make any sense. It's not like you did the beheading or whatever, but it's kind of like where do these people fall in 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 this discussion, right? These people probably want to keep these videos on the internet, and they're fighting for the right of people to upload this type of content onto the internet. So there's clearly an amount of people that want this content to be on the internet, as opposed to, you know, it was a live stream, the video we were talking about on Facebook. So there's not like, you can't really, I guess there's no system in place to prevent that type of thing from happening, right? Or at least to, for a certain amount of time. You can you can live stream anything, for a certain amount of time before, like you said, it gets flagged. And I think that's the important part, right? Or not flagged, maybe just ends, right? Yeah. So exactly. And so you could probably get away with 17 minutes of doing literally anything on video on the internet, anywhere. And Facebook is a very popular platform, right? So there's no system in place to prevent you from doing that, no matter what. You get away with it. So that's I guess what is kind of crazy if you think about it. Oh well.
So what's the alternative? So the alternative of of everyone having free access is some sort of content barrier block or some sort of paid access, right? Mm-hmm. But that's against what everybody wants to do. So then we have to have some level of, I don't know, cordoning off. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we prevent this kind of video from being live streamed again to a small audience again, where not a lot of people are watching it, and then blowing up to millions of people having viewed it?
Yeah, well, it's like, I guess it's sort of like the slippery slope argument, right? If we censor this content now, which honestly I think it probably could. And what's up, E-Man? How are you? Fresh the Rabbit. How are you doing? Welcome to the show, in the middle of the show. If we censor this content now in 2019, maybe in 2029, we're going to censor something on, further up the spectrum. And then it continues on forward until we can't really upload anything without
But I
being
think
worried.
that there is a minimum requirement that we can have, right? So just like child exploitation on YouTube is something that we're dealing with in the next adpocalypse, or with the gearing of videos so that children aren't being like sexualized. There is a minimum requirement for lots of sites in terms of violence and gore and that kind of thing. And live stream is is a monster of a completely different type, but it seems like Facebook, etc., can in microseconds target ads to you, right? Mm-hmm. You go to Amazon, you look up D&D miniatures, and lo and behold, every ad you have on all of your things are like, boom, D&D miniature sales, blah, blah, blah. So clearly cookies are doing this.
It's not even a real sale. It's fucking pissing me off.
I know.
They get me to click on everything. I'm kidding.
But is there a way to do that kind of thing with live videos? Like, can we have that kind of application instead of presenting ads?
Eventually,
can that technology be used to censor and view content and make sure that live content is limited? Or create a paid service where you have to pay in order to, first 5 minutes are free, but after that you have to pay.
But then you're monetizing, in this particular case, death, right? Isn't that weird? Is that legal? I guess at that point, then there's.
Are you monetizing it, or are you preventing it from being longer than 5 minutes?
Oh, are you saying you have to pay money in order to upload more things?
So
or
you
you have to
stream like
pay.
5 minutes, and then it's like you have to pay $1 to upload 1 more minute, right?
Okay,
Or
I'm
something
not
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
And would that putting a pay barrier, would it be preventative of people live streaming violent content?
I think to a certain extent, I'm sure it'll reduce. I mean, no one wants to pay money for anything, right? I mean, just look at the mobile market. But um, yeah, I'm sure it'll reduce to a certain percentage of uploads, but I don't think it'll completely get rid of it. Not that we're trying to provide a system that will just completely eradicate something, right? So I think
Then
that's
again,
that's
if you're
a
gonna do it, you're gonna do it, right?
yeah.
So anybody who wants to live stream them killing 50 different people is probably going to pay the $300 to stream 300 minutes of whatever they want to stream, right?
Right. That's what that. Yeah, that's pretty
So
much
it
what I
doesn't
was
really
saying. Yeah.
even address the problem. So I don't even think a pay barrier will work. So I don't
Um.
know.
Well,
Do
yeah.
live
It's.
streams, can you have like a 10-minute delay on their broadcast or a 5-minute delay on the broadcast and allow a computer to cycle through?
I'm sure there probably is. You can write a script to it or something, but this just ends up. I mean, we're literally just talking about can we get rid of crime now at this point, right? Is there a way to get rid of crime? And there's
Not get
no
rid
way
of
to get rid
crime.
of it.
Is there a
Well,
way to get rid of people gaining popularity for committing crimes and broadcasting them?
uh, I don't think so. I guess I mean I don't understand the internet well enough or how to internet security well enough to answer the question, unfortunately. But I would hope that there's some computer scientists and engineers that can figure out some sort of algorithm or type of thing like that. So I don't know. Personally.
The other thing is, will video games ever be so realistic that it'll be hard to tell them apart from real life?
We're getting there. I feel like it's like Moore's law. We're reaching the peak of our computer transistors on a silicon chip currently. I think that eventually we'll overcome that barrier. But I think I think eventually there will be some quantum computing down the line. And of course there are quantum computers that exist now. They just take up the size of like your entire apartment. But I think why not? Why wouldn't there be a point in which video games are so realistic you can't tell the difference? I don't know. We already have virtual reality, man. It's crazy. It's crazy out there.
Yup. All right. So in conclusion, it's gonna keep happening. There's no way to stop it, and people just have to have a moral compass to watch it or not to watch it.
Yeah, or report it or not report it. Currently, with the tools accessible on the internet, you can report things, or you could not report them. Some websites don't even have the option to report something that you see that is horrible on the internet. Yvonne, thanks for bringing up this depressing topic to me.
You're welcome, dude. I thought we could get something positive out of it, but turns out
we can't.
I think
it's the internet.
Lots of humans are just garbage.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Of course, Yvonne, we end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener or viewer, true, human sucks, says Fresh Rabbit. Tell me about it, man.
The thing is that we have such a capacity for good. It's just so annoying.
It is. We could, if we just work together, we would be in a better place. Anyways, we end our song in a segment called Hungover the Radio. This is where you, the listener or viewer, can send in music that you like or that you wrote, perhaps, and want to share with the Hungover Gaming community of 91 whole subscribers. Holy crap. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma. Maybe make a YouTube account for your grandma to subscribe to us. We're going to 100. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
If no one sends in a song, I get to pick one. Today, I'm super excited to share with you guys Lucent Mage, which is a song from Wargroove, original soundtrack. I hope you guys enjoy this song, and, keep it cool. Yvonne, are you streaming right now after this? Is that happening? What's going on?
I don't know, because I hate playing Overwatch on weekends.
Playing what? Overwatch?
Overwatch on weekends.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Well,
We'll talk about
you could stream Apex, dude.
Yeah, I know.
We get our third boy coming through, Fresh the Rabbit on Apex. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.